Jim, I want to respect your time because I know what our time slot was, but just two quick questions and then we're going to let you go.
Sure.
Partner. Okay, one of the services we offer at drescapes.com is immigration. The number of requests for more information about residencies and second passports has dramatically increased since our last interview. It seems that more and more security-conscious people are seriously considering adding a foreign escape route or a secondary residency or passport to their survival planning. Any idea why the interest level has increased so much over the last 6-8 months? It's almost tripled.
Well, I wouldn't doubt that it's because of both economic jitters here in the United States and also some legitimate concerns that people have about the policing that's going on here in the States. Our police forces have become increasingly militarized, and they now conduct SWAT-style raids at the drop of a hat. And often they'll take a search warrant and assume that it's a no-knock warrant even when it's not specifically stated to be. So there's a lot of people who have legitimate concerns where they want to at least diversify offshore, and in many cases they want to physically strategically relocate offshore. As I mentioned in our last conversation, it's not a good choice for most Americans. But for any who are fluent speakers of a foreign language, or for any who have deep social contacts in a foreign country, and here I'm talking about marrying into a family primarily, or very deep business relationships, it really isn't for most folks, but for some it really is quite viable. And I do recommend that at the very minimum, all of your listeners at least update their passports. And getting a second passport is a pretty darn good idea these days.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Jim, thank God I've always been really healthy, but talking to more and more of the potential expats I meet, and its numbers over the last 2 years have surpassed the 200 mark, so it's kept us pretty busy. But it seems that one of the biggest attractions to living offshore is the substantially lower cost of health care. I know I have dozens of real-life examples of U.S. and Canadians coming down here and getting good quality health care for approximately 10 to 20% of the cost back home. How do you recommend to your survivalists, followers on survivalblog.com, how do you recommend they deal with what seems to be a total runaway of health care costs in the States?
Well, a couple of ways. One is that people use mail order pharmacy as much as possible. And at least for now in the United States, it's not illegal to buy prescription drugs from overseas. And as long as you know you're buying name brand drugs from a reliable, trustworthy supplier where you know you're not getting faked or adulterated drugs, you're in good shape. That's the first tactic I would recommend. The other, of course, is growing your own medicine. I would recommend that people practice herb gardening and specialize in medicinal herbs. There's a lot of herbal remedies that work incredibly well. And, you know, it's not just the pharmaceutical companies who know how to make medicine. You can do it, a lot of it yourself.
That is such a huge thing in the country. I was going to say campo, in the country that where we live. It's unbelievable. If you have a flu or something hurts, you just talk to one of the older folks here, and they'll mix you up something with this root and that bark and grind it up. And honest to God, it works and it doesn't come back. Whatever your ailment is, there's a lot of truth to it.
Yeah. And then, of course, you mentioned expatriate healthcare. I'm not a big believer in most elective surgeries, and certainly not cosmetic surgery. I think is vain. But for anyone who has a chronic health condition and who's on a limited budget, relocating to a place like Belize or Honduras or the DR might make a lot of sense.
Well, you heard of a company, Humana, you would say in English. It's a very big insurance company.
Mm-hmm.
And my wife and I have both no-holds-barred policy where, you're out of pocket on a surgery is less than $100. And for both of us, we're paying $749 a year for the two of us.
That's fantastic.
So there is, and we have many Cuban doctors here, East Indian doctors. We have state-of-the-art facilities in the larger cities. I don't say in the country, but a couple hours away in the larger cities. And more, it seems to me that people from first world nations are taking advantage of what I call surgical holidays.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it certainly makes sense. The other thing that people need to consider is the cost of in-home health care with a full-time attendant here in the United States is becoming almost prohibitively expensive. But in a lot of third world and second world countries, it's still quite affordable. And for retirees who have chronic health conditions or just have deteriorating mobility and who need help in home, it might actually make more sense for them to relocate where they can afford to have someone there 24/7.
Yeah, if you're supplying, lodging, you can get a very good caretaker here for somewheres, and you're not being rude or anything, but the going rate's about, as long as you're providing the lodging, the spare bedroom, about $300 a month.
Wow.
For 7-day-a-week care, and cooking and cleaning, as well as taking care of you. But, Jim, before we close, is there any other topics you want to bring up?
Well, I just want to encourage your listeners to take full advantage of the resources that I have at Survival Blog. The blog has been around for 9 years now, and it has incredibly deep and rich archives that are fully accessible free of charge. There's over 30,000 articles and letters posted there, and it's fully searchable by topic or by keyword. I recommend that people take full advantage of that. And for the very most important articles, they should print out hard copies so you have an EMP-proof backup. But at least put some of those key articles on a memory stick. And we also offer an archived DVD. But I'm not trying to hawk that. It's a $19 item, but you can actually build one yourself if you take the time to just copy all the files over onto memory sticks. But take full advantage of those resources, folks, because if the internet goes away, those resources will go away, and you want to have them at your fingertips.
Absolutely. Jim, one last time, please let my listeners know how they can find out more about how they can obtain a copy of not only Liberators, but any of your other writings.
Well, sure. All my books are available online from sources like Amazon.com and BarnesandNoble.com, BN.com. Again, my family name is Rawles. It's Rawles. Just do a internet search on Rawles, and you'll find all the sellers of my books. But, the main reason I do these interviews is not to promote my books. It's to promote preparedness. My goal is to wake people up, to get people prepared. Folks, it's high time to stock up. And it's high time to team up together because there's some dark days ahead. And I pray the 91st Psalm for you and all your listeners.
James, thank you very much for that. And I guess the bottom line is I can only say ditto about the drescapes.com. We're not saying it's for everybody, but it is a viable source for some people. And all we're trying to do is open closed minds, because that's the costliest thing a person's going to own is a closed mind. It's been a pleasure. God bless you, and I hope we can make this a regular 6 to 8 month kind of fireside chat. Wishing you good health and good luck always, James.
Thank you, Barry.